Bill Belichick's 9 Super Bowl appearances are 3 more than any other coach in history, and he's not done yet. So when he tells you to, quote, shut the fuck up, it hurts. And it's also somewhat of an honor. In the fourth quarter of the Vikings matchup with the Patriots, the officials ruled that running back Latavius Murray had gained enough yards for a first down. Being a close call of inches, the Vikings began to rush to the line of scrimmage to get a playoff before New England could challenge. The problem was they couldn't get off a play. Patriots safety Patrick Chung went down due to injury, and the excess time allowed Bill Belichick to wait, think over his decision, reach for one sock, realize his challenge flag wasn't there, reach for another, and gently release it onto the playing field. Thielen thought the Patriots had intentionally slowed the game down in order to cheat. Thielen would be in one official's ear when it happened, saying, "That's bullshit." Belichick would respond back, "Shut the fuck up." But that's not the end of it. Buenos dias, friends. Welcome to Take Some Fuego. Today we take a look at the fine line of discussing Bill Belichick and winding up in his crosshairs and how that's worked out for everyone before him. After the Vikings game, when one reporter asked Belichick if they had been exchanging holiday greetings, Belichick said enthusiastically, "Yeah, pretty much," which basically sums up Belichick beef. He's a fiery, passionate dude, and there's an angry, deeply competitive man in there, but usually we just see him in press conferences mumbling through non-answer after non-answer. But in this video, we're going to look at 4 more examples of Bill Belichick's trash talk. Example number 1, Bill Belichick versus Odell Beckham Jr. Belichick must just know how much of a trash talker Beckham is, so he wants to just get it out of the way. In an interview with Odell around the time of the Browns matchup with the Patriots, he said, "He tells me the same thing every time. I hope you enjoy today because there's not going to be much for you." And for the most part, Belichick hasn't been wrong. In their first meeting with the Patriots, Beckham scored an 87-yard score with the Giants where their safety McCourty missed the tackle. Since then though, Belichick has been right. After that play, Beckham was targeted 11 times against the Patriots and he came down with 3 of them, totaling 17 yards. He is a man of adjustments. Switching teams didn't necessarily help either. Beckham's matchup with his Browns led to a less successful day, where he caught 5 catches for 52 yards. This is our most mild of examples, of course. Example number 2, Bill Belichick versus Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin may have insinuated that New England had been cheating in this case. In 2015, the Patriots and Steelers met in the first week of the season, and the game went down as a close one. New England beat the Steelers 28-21 at home that day. Tomlin noted he had some trouble communicating with players during the game. He said the headsets were having issues, which he said, quote, unquote, was always the case in Foxborough. Belichick was once again in the crosshairs of another coach for being in some sort of cheating scandal, and he was not willing to have any of it. He would say, "First of all, I would say that I think our program here is built on competition and trying to improve every day and trying to work hard, and it's not built on excuses." Ouch. You don't need Tomlin's name in there to know where those shots are being fired at, but something's missing in these Belichick burns. Something that isn't missing in our final 2 examples. Example number 3, Bill Belichick versus Charles Cassidy. You might be thinking to yourself, who's Charles Cassidy? Well, sometimes Belichick will talk trash to you to let you know he's game plan for you. Sometimes he talks trash if you accuse him of cheating. Sometimes he will talk trash if you do your job, especially if you do it incorrectly. Charles Cassidy used to be a general manager of the Washington professional football team, then known as the and for the Houston Texans. Following that, he worked as an analyst for CBS. In 2010, Cassidy reported that Tom Brady was playing with broken ribs during the 2010 season. Well, Bill Belichick didn't like that. He also wasn't a fan of his management of the Texans. Belichick would say, "Who's been more wrong than Charlie Cassidy since he left the Redskins? His percentage is like a meteorologist. He has no relationship to this team, I'd say less than 0. Based on what? He's never at a practice, never at a game. At least he put his name on it, which is more than a lot of guys. But like he usually is, he's 100% wrong." This time, Belichick included his name and his past GM work. We've almost reached full form of Bill Belichick trash talk, but our final example will complete the picture. Example number 4, Bill Belichick versus Marv Levy. This one dates back to 1995 when Belichick was coaching the Cleveland Browns. Marv was coaching the Buffalo Bills. It was a tight game that Monday night, and at halftime it was tied 10-10. In order to beat Belichick, Levy made an adjustment. He was going to go with the no-huddle offense with their quarterback Jim Kelly to catch Belichick's defense off guard, and it worked. They won the game by 3, 22-19, beating Belichick and the Browns. But that's not the end of it. Marv Levy felt some type of way about how Belichick played in the second half. He would say in a post-game press conference that Belichick's Browns were faking injuries in order to slow down the no-huddle offense. Apparently, he thought Belichick was cheating. Whether or not that was the case, Belichick sure didn't take kindly to it. He would take shots at Levy after the game, and they were a lot more than personal. I think that's a bunch of garbage. It's hard for me to have respect for Levy for saying that. It's demeaning. Here's a guy who offensively came in and tried to run the wing T offense in Kansas City. That was brilliant, Belichick said sarcastically. The best thing he did was turn the offense over to Jim Kelly in the second half of the Carolina game and against us. There's a guy, Jim Kelly, who can run an offense and move an offense. Unfortunately, Levy didn't call more plays against us like he did against Carolina. I would much rather go against him than Jim Kelly. Wow, that was brutal, personal, and tactical. When you bring X's and O's into it, wing T offense, you know you got to Belichick and he's going to get to you. Don't let the style, the mumbling non-answers, or his stoic look define him. Bill Belichick is a football version of a cold, calculated killer. He's out in a bunker somewhere preparing for warfare, and I'm sure the quotes of what he says would rarely match with his inner dialogue. And you know what? That's what makes him Bill Belichick. That's what brings in those Lombardi trophies. That's what brings in his seemingly cold, or at least not particularly loving, coaching style, and that's what makes him so harsh behind closed doors and sometimes, as we've now seen, in public. He's a dedicated, fiery, hardest worker in the league NFL head coach, and should always be remembered as the best. Last season he became the third coach to win 300 games in his career, and it took less games than the other 2 coaches before him. He has the highest winning percentage in NFL history. If you've made it through to the end of this video, if you could do me a solid and hit that like button, that would be muy fuego of you. It helps me out with algorithms and such. For why Belichick cut Tom Brady out of New England and what happens when you trash talk Michael Jordan, check out the videos on the screen. And be sure to subscribe for more trash talking athletes and coaches.